I do want to talk about Rick Santorum because even though Rick Santorum, I don't believe, will be the eventual nominee, this is a guy whose moral compass and capacity for logic, reason, and critical thinking, at least in what he's presented to the public, is absolutely horrifying. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it, Lewis. Rick Santorum, let's just go through what he has said. Rick Santorum says states should have the right to outlaw birth control. Let's take a listen to Rick Santorum talking to ABC's Jake Tapper. And this is disturbing, folks.
I'd say that one of the reasons you lost that year was because you are, in their view, out of the mainstream. And they talk about the Griswold versus Connecticut case. That was an issue that Casey used against you about whether or not a state has the right to make a law against a married couple using contraceptives. Is that something you're at all concerned about?
The state has a right to do that. I've never questioned whether the state has the right to do that. It's not a constitutional right. The state has the right to pass whatever statutes they have, and that's the thing I've said about the activism of the Supreme Court. They're creating rights, and we're the.
All right, so states have the right to outlaw birth control. That's one of Rick Santorum's views, and he also has gone on and said that. By the way, Lewis, you know what? What would triple the abortion rate like banning contraception? Can you think of anything that would have a more significant effect on increasing the number of abortions than banning contraception? I thought he was a anti-abortion guy. I thought he wanted to reduce the number of abortions.
Clearly a very confused guy.
He is confused. He still thinks that there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. There were a number of sickening interviews with people claiming to vote for him because family values were important to them. Let me tell you about Rick Santorum. Rick Santorum, after alluding to Mormonism being a dangerous cult in 2007, was also involved in a number of bizarre statements about abortion, including saying abortion should just flat out be illegal. And while he would not go after legally those mothers who obtain abortions, he would go after doctors who perform abortions. Okay? Now, I don't know how else to even bring this up, except that Rick Santorum authorized a partial birth abortion to save the life of his own wife. Is it different when he does it himself? Is it just that Rick Santorum decides what's best for other people, but then he can go above and beyond that and say, well, for me, it's different?
Right, because he never said abortions are okay in the case of saving the mother's life.
No.
Never said that. He said, under no circumstances are abortions okay, right?
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
And his wife underwent a partial birth abortion in 1997. She was in the 19th week of her pregnancy. Karen Santorum discovered that the fetus she was carrying had a fatal defect and was going to die. There was this long-shot surgery performed that required cutting into the womb, high risk of infection. It was performed not to save the baby, but to reduce her complications, and Rick Santorum ended up authorizing a late-term abortion for this. He said now, today in hindsight, with hindsight being 2020, Karen said she would have authorized the procedure after all, justifying the saving of her own life by explaining that her other children would have lost a mother. Well, Rick Santorum never said that when he said he's against abortion, even in cases of to save the mother's life. He never said, well, if the mother already has other children, then you need to save her life for the sake of those other children. No, he never said that. I guess it's different. It's a level of hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen, that is inherent to this entire GOP field, and it's despicable. That's the reality.
There you have it.
This man should be kept as far away as possible from elected office for the rest of his life. And by the way, more Santorum statements. He wants to annul all same-sex marriages. He says gay soldiers cause problems for people living in close quarters. He says we don't need food stamps because obesity rates are too high. That makes sense. He says health reform will kill my child. And he also says insurers should be able to discriminate against people with pre-existing conditions. He also mocked President Obama for extending health care coverage to everybody. That's a sense of Rick Santorum. Let's pray to whoever it is you pray to, if anyone, or hope that the odds are such that Rick Santorum does not end up being the next president of this country, because it would be a dark, dark day.
Well, he's doing pretty good so far.
It's not going to last. That's what I'm telling myself, at least. Mitt Romney, he now says he is basically the presumptive front runner. He may be right. He says, I've got a big target on me now. I've got broad shoulders and I'm willing to handle it. You won by 8 votes, Mitt. Let's not get too crazy and get ahead of ourselves. However, he's doing very well in polling going into New Hampshire. People overwhelmingly think he will be the eventual nominee, regardless of who they would like to be the nominee.
Well, that's what we predicted, right?
I think it will be at this point.
Yeah.
Or it could still be Gingrich.
I don't know.
You're not seeing it.
Not seeing it.
Okay. And then Ron Paul. Ron Paul, who came in with 21%, third place, he was asked if he sees himself being in the Oval Office, and he actually said, not really. I don't really see myself being in the Oval Office, which is kind of strange, isn't it, Lewis? You would think that if you are running for president, that you could at least see yourself being the president, but he doesn't. And I don't know that his supporters are really being fazed by this, but they should be. Your guy doesn't even think he's going to be the president? Why is he running? Why are you voting for him if he doesn't even think he's going to be the president? Let's take a listen to this, Lewis.
Governor, when you lay your head down on the pillow at night, you see yourself in the Oval Office?
Not really, but I think it's a possibility. Sometimes I kid about it. I said, that's the risk I take, you know.
And amazing.
Okay, so he just doesn't really see himself being the president.
I guess he's just trying to sound like your normal guy, everyday Joe, whatever.
Yeah, in the same way that Lewis doesn't see himself being the president in 2000.
Or David, because he can't be.
Right, I'm not even eligible.
Right.
Yeah, Ron Paul doesn't see himself being the president either. So, hey, if you want to vote for a guy who doesn't even see himself being the president, that's fine.